Tourism in Kenya accounts for about 10% of the gross domestic product, making it the third largest contributor to the economy after agriculture and manufacturing.
We've seen numbers or growth coming from some of the markets that we'd call emerging markets, and also from the rest of African countries, neighboring countries, and countries also including South Africa. So we would say that we've seen a growth in terms of domestic and in terms of regional, which perhaps in future may compensate any decline we may have in international arrivals.
The sector recorded a decline of 23% in tourist arrivals in December 2012, a peak season in the industry. Although this may be attributed to the recent string of grenade attacks and tribal clashes around the country, there is need to promote growth in other areas that would add value to the nation and make Kenya a holistic travel experience.
A couple of years ago, we realized that we cannot be talking about two products, because Kenya is very well known as a beach and wildlife safari destination, and we therefore set out to do product diversification. In so doing, we set out to show the diversity that this country offers.
Some of these products include medical, sports and culture tourism, bird watching and conferencing, which is the fastest growing subsector within the tourism industry.
MICE is meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions, which is a multi-segment, but basically boiling down to a corporate requirement. And in Kenya, there has been incentive. The I sector of the MICE has been there for a number of years, in fact for a good 20 years, because we are a destination that can fulfill those requirements of an incentive travel. However, the M, C and E segments, of which E is actually very casually handled here, which is the exhibitions part, meetings and conventions have only grown in the last 5 years.
As a country, have facilities that can host international conferences, and indeed the beauty of it all is that in Africa we've been ranked number 3 in terms of MICE.
This product attracts large numbers of people from all over the world, and almost all of them are sponsored attendees to these conferences, hence have an extra coin to spend on other tourist attractions such as national parks.
Last year, we did actually host in this country over 30 international association conferences. And these are very huge. Their demands are very strict and stringent because of the kind of requirements they have in what they normally send as they normally do send a bid document, a bid protocol, which is basically requirements that a country or a destination must meet before they even decide to come for that conference.
MICE, which contributes to about 7% of the total tourism revenue, has the potential to enable Kenya realize its Vision 2030, as tourism is one of the economic pillars supporting it.
Nairobi being a business hub and basically the sort of commercial hub for this particular country, happens to host most of the conferences. And given the fact that we have a purpose-built convention center like KICC, it becomes the most likely place for hosting conferences. But we have a lot of conferences that go to hotels, and we have hotels all over the country. Yeah, conferences and meetings, we have what we call the local meetings and of course international meetings. We have local events, international events. So around the country we are having all these happening, either at a local stature or international stature kind of meetings or events. Yeah, there are other places where you find events, for instance, such as, let's get an example of the Camel Derby, yeah, which happens in Maryland. That is MICE.
South Africa and Egypt are ranked first and second respectively on meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions. Kenya has therefore carved a niche known as canvas conferencing in a bid to stay competitive.
This is a very new concept. It was developed by 2 key hotel companies here in Kenya, Serena Hotels and Sarova Hotels. What they did is about 10 years ago, they created venues outside Nairobi in locations where they are already present, like Masai Mara, like Amboseli, like Lake Nakuru. So conferencing under canvas is taking you away from the cemented jungle. And that is what really helped grow the MICE segment. The fact that we could come up with interesting venues where we could say to people, you don't have to be in Nairobi. You can actually hold your 50 persons high executive meeting in the Mara You'll be doing game driving early morning, and you'll be doing business with nature as your background.
As an emerging product, challenges are inevitable.
Any other developing product, awareness is usually a challenge. Knowing how we should do it in the right way so that we can get as much benefits out of it as possible is always a challenge.
The downside of all of this is that Kenya is always competing with another destination. Leave alone the local suppliers here who are competing against each other, we're competing against another destination. So those are our challenges. How do you convince a corporate outside that's looking to saying, I want to take my incentive or my dealer meeting to Kenya? How do you say to them, we have this and this and this on offer for you?
Tourism stakeholders are working towards increasing the number of delegate arrivals and spending per night.
When we look at an international perspective, is how much has the international MICE contributed? Not more than 7% to tourism in overall, generally. And that's where I'm saying that we can actually grow it a lot by, of course, talking about it, by bragging about what we have. I mean, we should not be shy about that. And at the same time, simultaneously getting the government goodwill to build those state-of-art conference centers or convention centers. Yeah.
MICE tourism accounts for 10% of international arrivals. This may just be the product that will propel the industry to measure up to the best travel and tourism companies in the world. For Eye on Kenya, I'm Carolyne Kiambo.